Well, hello, everyone. It's so great to be here this afternoon, or should I say this evening. Wherever you are, that's why we're glad to be there, because we're here for you at any time of the day. My name is Cheryl Walters, and we're here to introduce you to a very special person, and this forum is called Meet the Candidate, and it's not really a forum as we know a forum. It's a direct interview with a gentleman that's really excited about making a difference in Greenville in District 1, and that gentleman is none other than Mr. William Shiver. William, hello there. How you doing?
Hello, Cheryl. How are you?
Hey, you know, we don't have time for my troubles. We didn't come here to talk about it. You don't really want to know how I'm doing.
Okay.
We had that conversation earlier.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm so excited about being here with you today. As you can see, it's so many things happening, and whenever you can get an opportunity to hear from someone and know that they're genuinely concerned about what's going on in your community, like you are, and stepping out to make this move as a council member for District 1, that's exciting. Tell me, what made you decide that you wanted to run for this particular office?
Well, first of all, when the redistricting took place and changed everything, and I saw that north of the river was going to be part of the district that I was in, because originally I was in District 2, I said I want to run because there are so many things going on, there are so many different needs in north of the river and in West Greenville, and I wanted to be a part of the solution.
You know, that's I'm glad you mentioned that, because I don't think a lot of people, because I'm in District 1, and prior to your running, I had no idea that things had changed so drastically. But before we get into that little change and everything, let's talk a little bit about who you are. And the reason I say that is because I'm on your campaign.
Okay.
And we were out doing some canvassing a few weeks ago, and when I saw this little folder right here, I had to get it because it had McGregor, the athlete's choice. Everywhere we went and mentioned your name, people said, "Is it okay if I say William Charles?"
Yes,
okay, because that's what we know William Charles. We used to play basketball with him. Tell us a little bit about this basketball thing that you do.
Well, in the early 60s, I was in the elementary school at Sally Branch, which is Belvoir Elementary now, and I went from there to Belvoir Falkland High School for the high school up to the 11th grade. Played basketball at Belvoir High School and excelled. We had a really good coach, and my sophomore year we went 16-0.
Whoa!
And we didn't lose any games. And then my junior year we had a really good team. We lost a few games, and then when the schools consolidated into North Pitt, I was in the first graduating class, and we were 4th in the state that year.
So I guess it's a fair assessment to say you've been here pretty much all your life.
All my life, other than college and
right.
5 years away in California.
Yeah,
yes.
That's awesome, because you know, when you have people that know the grassroots of a location and they know the things that are transpiring and they know things that used to be and some things that they want to change, it's good to have a person in a position that has some hands-on experience with that.
Yes.
The basketball thing, let me just mention this part. I was told that when you played basketball, that at the games, the people would get mad if you got fouled. If something happened to you, everybody just went berserk. It was like, were you that good?
Well, I was a good player. I was a good player, and the fans were so protective back then, and they wanted to make sure that nothing happened because they wanted to win just as much as I did.
Okay, were you the center?
Yes.
I just know a little bit about it. I know as tall as you were, I'm sure there weren't many tall people at that time, huh?
Right.
Wow, that's great. That's really good. And when I was talking to people and I was sharing with them that you were the candidate that we were out supporting, nothing but great reviews. They were talking about your family history a little bit, about how the businesses that your family had and how you guys influenced the community. Tell us a little bit about that so we know who really William Charles Shivers is.
Okay. Well, on my mother's side, I was raised north of the river, and we had a farm there. I was raised up on the farm, and then the family had a family grocery store right off of Highway 33 when you turn left on the Old River Road. And so that was the businesses that I was a part of all my life up until I left. And so entrepreneurs, and then on my father's side, I had my uncle that ran the shoe store.
That's the one I heard about that
shoe
one.
store. And his wife, she ran the hair salon. And they sold wigs in the back room.
In the back room?
In the back room of the house. It was a 2-story house. They built an attachment to it for the hair salon. And one room they stored wigs, and they sold them there for over 50 years.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm telling you, that must have been some experience for kids during that time, you know,
yes,
to be around so much business happening.
And prior to that, my great-grandmother, she ran a small school in the backyard, and she did millinery, which is making hats to make money to help advise the kids and help them with their school homework and everything. And she was also superintendent of schools in 4 counties, because back then there was no income for superintendents or in the school system back then. So she volunteered her time to be a superintendent in 4 different counties.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's great. That's really good, and I'm loving all of this. You know why, William? Because we as entrepreneurs, should I say,
yes,
a lot of times we think that we started this thing rolling.
That's correct.
And when you go back into your lineage or your heritage or your family history, you find out that you're from a family of entrepreneurs from the time that you were born, probably.
Yes. Well, one thing that has happened that I really want to work on making some changes with is that a lot of information that in history gets swept under the rug throughout the years.
Right.
And people need to know, the public needs to know, especially in the community that a person lives, about the history.
Right.
You know, there was a time on Green Street in Greenville where you come into Green Street, and that's where the city limits stopped.
Really?
Right there. You know, the city limits was right there. During the time of segregation, you couldn't march in the town for whatever rights you had.
Right.
It's just so much history here in Pitt County. It has grown a lot, but there's a lot of history that a lot of people don't know about.
Now, when you mentioned about the district, let me ask you this: if you were able to focus or change any type of activity or any type of community involvement for District 1, what would it look like? What would it be? What would be the one thing you do?
Well, the actual communications, the communications between the city and the residents in District 1 would be one of my main focuses, because when we make major decisions in a town and city like Greenville, it's growing by leaps and bounds. And when decisions are made, when they first get past planning, the information should be disseminated, I feel, more inclusive of the residents, so that the residents can have input early in the decision making, instead of, you know, on the back end after decisions have been made final. You know, I believe that could use some improvement.
That's good. That's good. I never thought about that, but that's very good and very interesting, because when we were doing the canvassing, a lot of times we found out that a lot of people didn't even know who their city council member was, and for the district. And then they didn't know what kinds of things they could ask, or things they could you know, what do they go to the city council for? And so I remember you sharing with some of the seniors when we talked on that. and they were very receptive to the idea. Talk to me a little bit about seniors, because I know that you have a history of working in the industry that helps seniors and some of the other individuals that are low income or less fortunate. How does that play a part in what you're trying to do?
Well, I'm a senior citizen myself.
Yes, you are.
Yes. And a lot of senior citizens are on fixed incomes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And the communications in terms of services that's made available to them, a lot of them don't know what they are.
Right.
And part of my agenda upon getting elected as City Council in District 1 is to increase, work towards, in collaboration with other council members, to actually increase the accessibility of information and resources throughout the community. We can have the health department, we can have social services, and we have all of that, mm-hmm. but a lot of seniors don't know what a lot of benefits are. And so if we would do more outreach, I believe, increase that, it would help the seniors a lot, because there could be health disparities that could really be eliminated or worked on if they knew where to go for certain things, instead of just putting it in a book. Let the community resource person that's being paid to get out in the community actually spend that time in the community to inform them.
Community resource person.
That's correct.
That's good.
And we probably have that, but that information, I believe, needs to be spread out more and on a more consistent basis.
Even if we do, I think it might be a little bit selective as to which areas that information is spread about, because I'm on the west side in West Greenville, and I am in District 1, and there are lots of things that happen, and we don't find out on our end until after they've already happened.
Yes.
And so if we had a resource person, or, like helping with the seniors and some of the other things, that's a great idea. I really like that. Let's talk a little bit about what does it look like to you as far as over the river goes, and I know that's your home base. That's where you come from. We've been hearing a lot of people talk about the airport situation and how things over there are developing. And I know you said you met with the former mayor once, I think, over there.
Yes.
Ed Carter. He shared some stuff, and we have some people that work religiously in the campaign that are over there dealing with some stuff. What are your thoughts about that? Is that something that a city council would get involved in, or what do you think?
Absolutely. It's very important, because some decisions that's made that's going to affect the citizens in the district need to be communicated to the citizens, so that they can have some input in those decisions that's going to be made, or plans for new things coming up. Used as an example, I feel like the inclusiveness of the communications around drainage, the cryptocurrency,
yes.
different things. I feel that it needs to we need to pay attention to that more seriously, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And that's not to slight or say no one else is doing their job,
right.
but the community people, including the airport, the people in the district need to be communicated with and reached out to as much as necessary, because some of the things that I just mentioned has health effects on people,
right? And
they need to be a part of it more.
And you know what? That's a very good point, because when we were out the other day, and it was just the four of us, the two leading ladies on the canvassing campaign, and we were noticing there's water standing over there, and it hadn't rained for days. And so I said, and one of them lives over there. And so I said, so what's up with the water? Why do you have water here? And they said, we have no drainage there. Mm-hmm. I said, you have no drainage? They said, sure, they just got lights a few years ago on the street. They didn't even have pole lights.
Right.
And so I was saying, so she was saying, I hope Mr. Shiver gets in so he can help address these issues. And you were just saying that's that inclusiveness kind of thing that they're mentioning. Everyday person for everyday people. Help me out here. What's that slogan?
Well, everyday man for everyday people.
Okay, everyday man for everyday people.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? Are you really an everyday man, and are you really for everyday people?
Yes, I am and have been for years. My wife and I operate a mental health business, and we're constantly in the community working and providing services for clients. But along also with that, you know, when COVID first came out, we really got involved with the setting up of sites throughout Greenville, maybe 12 different locations. We helped facilitate setting up sites and bringing a testing team in, COVID testing team in from Charlotte that worked with us. We set them up at several churches here and gave out food boxes. There was one company that had a grant, a nonprofit that had grant money, and so they were able to pay for food boxes. Wow. So we distributed over 3,000 boxes of food and about maybe 1,100 checks that was given out to qualified families that tested positive for COVID. We've just, you know, given out a lot of PPP, which was, you know, sanitizer and mask. But along with that, seeing some of the people that come to their front door, and I didn't get a team to do this. I did this myself.
I remember.
And that's not boasting. I enjoyed it, but sometimes it would take some of the seniors close to 3 and 4 minutes to come to the door, and I'd seen some of them come to the door with their with the wheel and the apparatus that has the saline solution, and they walk with it, or either have the breathing apparatus, and it really touched my heart because, you know, it's tough.
Oh, but for the grace of God,
yeah, but the grace of God. And so it gave me more energy to go out and make sacrifices, you know, to get food, encourage people. All the clients that we serve under some contract work that I do for another mental health company, we make sure they got food. We make sure they had what they need. If they were displaced in housing, we would use our resources to make sure that they got somewhere to stay. Right. Especially when it was cold.
Now, with all of the revitalization and everything that's going on everywhere, you know, it's amazing how you can go in any city and find the same revitalization going on, because all of these decisions come from that group of people that represent each state up in the big house.
Right.
So, but it seems like it's happening so quickly that we really haven't been able to grasp what's really needed, I don't think. I guess my question for you is, do you think that the growth in some of the areas is a little bit more rapid than probably it should be because of that lack of communication, so it doesn't give the people time enough to prepare for what is coming, and then all of a sudden, boom?
Right. The answer to your question is yes. Greenville is growing, like I said earlier, by leaps and bounds, and the even distribution of wealth, of finances for infrastructure, I believe, could help more. And if you drive into Greenville off 264, coming into town, Stantonburg Road, the hospital's on the left, and then you cross Memorial Drive, and you get to, right before you get to Bancroft Street, everything looks like another whole neighborhood. But it's beautiful before that, but from Bancroft, from Stantonburg up to 10th Street where the new bridge is, that gap in there,
Yes.
it just looks like almost another town.
Right.
And part of my agenda is to work on increasing the communications between some of the landlords and the community to make sure that they encourage them to improve their real estate properties so that it'll complement the rest of the town as well.
That's good.
And work with the people that rent there to they'll be more motivated to keep their properties up if the owners put more time into keeping the properties up.
Yeah.
And that will complement the other parts of the town.
That's good. That's real good. We've touched on quite a few things, and I want to give you an opportunity to share from your heart. And the reason I say that is because we're in a time now where if you are the same mindset, when this is just Cheryl talking, okay, if you are in the same mindset that you were before the pandemic, now something is wrong. Everybody should have had a change, a shift in something, in your way of thinking, of operating, or something from the time that the pandemic started now, because things are different, meaning that finances have decreased, gas has increased, food has increased.
Yes.
So you got to, your mind has to do something. And I find that people, and everybody knows, people remember how you make them feel.
That's correct.
Before they remember what you say.
Yes.
So when it comes down to being the candidate of choice, or being the candidate that you want people to remember, what would you say to them? How do you want them to really see William Shiver?
As a caring person that keeps it real, and someone that will get out there and voice the concerns that's heard from the constituents in the district to the city council or other places that it need to be communicated, to look for solutions to increase the probability of things being better, in the community. Now, as far as the impact of COVID, I believe that it still is a great opportunity for people that went into the silent suffering through COVID, not knowing what to do.
Right.
Those that are believers hold on to their faith, and it was a lot of time to put time in prayer.
That's right.
To build up their spiritual bank account in their own personal lives, so that they can have the confidence to look at this hard situation of COVID and have the motivation to attack it not run from it.
That's good.
And more than anything else, if a person in District 1 and in the city of Greenville that's not in the medical field won't know 100% of the truth, but at least if they are giving out the shots, it might be a good idea to take them if you don't know all the facts.
Yeah.
And that's no slight for those that didn't take it.
Right.
But if you really think about it, all of us got our own personal doctors that we depend on.
Same thing.
We depend on the doctors, and they do a good job. But how many of us have ever looked at the doctor's credentials and called the university where they came from?
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So if they say you should take your shots, take them. If they say wear your mask, wear your mask.
Right.
I mean, because we are not the authorities, so we have to depend on them just like we do the doctors.
Right.
And the integrity, keeping the integrity through the changes that we're going through, and not disrespecting one another, and being emotional, allowing our emotions to take control over our thinking when we need to work on the facts. If I have not exercised all my efforts to find out the truth about something going on with you or anyone else, I should remain silent.
Ooh, I like that. That's
Yes.
good. We need to post that one somewhere. I like that one because we are, as human, flesh or whatever, we are quick
Yes.
to respond or to even retaliate to somebody's comment about something and don't even know all the facts.
Yeah.
I tell you, this is a good place and a good time, I think, right now for people that are looking for a solution, because having someone that is passionate about not only how things can be better for the city, but passionate for people.
Yes.
And as we start to wrap this up, I want to say thank you for all that you do and all that you've done. You and Gail, you know, you guys are my friends first and foremost, and I'm just excited about everything that's happening with you. And I believe wholeheartedly that you are the people's choice, and support you. But I want you to say this. I want you to tell them one last thing as we wrap this up. Tell them about you being the first one, because a lot of people don't know this, being the first one to start this business about youth. Was it about youth?
Yes,
nation? Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll wrap it up.
Actually, in 1989, I started the first of its kind all-day out-of-school suspension program in the nation for the suspended students in Pitt County.
Wow.
And it went well, and I paid for it out of my pocket for the first 2 years. And so I've interacted with almost probably over 100 students that was in high school, in not elementary, but the grades before middle school. Middle school,
Okay.
Middle school and high school. And a lot of them that see me now say, Mr. Shiver, you remember me? And but I did that because those kids at the time, most parents were away at work, and the kids didn't have no supervision, so they were more challenged with larceny, things like that, because they didn't have any supervision. So the parents would bring the children to our program, which was community impact services, and leave them there. And because there was a school lesson plan for the year, we would have the parents go to the school while they was on suspension to get their homework assignments, and then I had volunteers from East Carolina University to come and help them with the homework. And so when they went back to school after the suspension, their homework was caught up.
All right.
And then we talked to them about why they got suspended.
Well, I tell you, this has been quite a very, just an awesome time spent with you. And this is Meet the Candidate. So I just want to say to those of you that are watching, do know that the opportunity here is something that's greater than you can imagine, because you have someone that has really shared with you his heart, his vision, and his desire to be a person that can help all of us. And I'm just thankful for that. It's not a forum, or it's not, like I said, it's nothing political to the point where you don't know who he is. We want you to meet him. We want you to know this man. We want to make a difference. And I say we because I'm a part of the campaign, but more importantly, Mr. Shiver wants to make a difference. You want to say something to the people before we leave?
Yes, I like to say that I'm an everyday man for everyday people. If there are issues, I will put genuine energy into making sure it get communicated in the right places as city councilman for District 1. And I'm proud to be from Greenville in Pitt County. And I just want to be an asset to the city council. And I believe my energy, my determination, and my desire to look for solutions is genuine to a point where I can collaborate and be inclusive with all those that I work with. But the only way I can do that is if you vote for William Shiver on May 17th for District 1.
All righty. Well, thank you so very much. That was just awesome. And as always, thank you so much for joining us at GPAT.